Yo, as always, like, share, subscribe. Now let's just get into it. So Michigan just defeated ECU at home 30-3. So I'll start with the offense and I'll get to the defense and then I'll speak about what I feel needs work and things like that. So Michigan won that game 30-3, and on offense, JJ looked good. JJ looked like he's taking that next step, honestly. JJ looked very polished, I'll say. Whether it was in the pocket, whether that was his decision making, his ball placement, his ball placement was right on point. And he just looked like he had command and control of the offense, trusted himself, and just like he took that next step. So that was a big plus. The run game wasn't really there like you would expect, and this is for the year that I think this is what's going to be like this year. Teams aren't going to let us they're just going to run it down our throat and get 4 and 5 yards a pop. Teams are going to make JJ beat them. They're going to stack the box, and Blake and Donovan, they're going to have to work hard to get that 60 in a cloud of smoke. And also, with all these different pieces returning to the offensive line or getting additions to the offensive line, it's probably going to take a little longer for the cohesive nature, the cohesive run game, run blocking to open up for them, especially dealing with 8-man fronts, eight guys in the box. So that's the thing right there. Even last year the run game didn't just pop right from the jump. It took about 4 games for it to just really pop like that. So that's something to look for. The receivers, Cornelius, Roman, Loveland, Donovan Edwards, they all look good. Cornelius and Roman look like number ones, and Roman is wearing the number 1 now, which is nice to see. It's nice to see that number 1 out there and that number 1 making plays like he's supposed to be at Michigan. He had a couple drops, but that'll happen sometimes. But it was good to see them. Loveland looks like he's the real deal, and I liked that these guys were making some kind of tough catches. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see that they're on the same page. We didn't see a deep shot, but JJ didn't attempt one. JJ was 26 of 30 for 280 and 3 TDs. So yeah, it was the pass game looked very, very good and polished, and it does look like JJ's taking that next step, like they said. The receivers were on point. Let's see. Roman Wilson had 6 catches, 78 yards, 3 TDs. Cornelius Johnson, 71 yards, 3 catches. Loveland, 4 catches, 57 yards. Donovan Edwards, 4 catches, 33 yards. And so that's good. And for the year, I just think this is a year I think you're going to have to throw to set up the run. That's just what I think is going to, and I think that's best, is for us to throw to set up the run this year. Honestly, that's just me. Blake had 10 carries for 73 yards. He had a 37-yard long. And to me, I'm not sure if Blake should be starting. I know people are going to say, what? I don't know. That's just, I don't know. Something, and I hate to say this, but something don't seem right about him. And I think they might want to, it's hard to say because he had 10 carries, but Donovan had 12. Nothing really popped off for Donovan. But I don't know. Maybe it's just since he's coming back, he's still trying to get his body into the the game shape, and also I don't think he was getting hit in practice like that. That's what I heard. So maybe it's just him starting to trust his body like he wants to. But I don't know. I just didn't like the way he was looking. You know, normally Blake is always smiling, and he had a look about himself that was, I don't know. His look was like he was thinking a little bit more. This is just me watching and knowing what I normally see out of him. He's always smiling and he's got a look on about himself. He didn't really have that look for most of this game. I'm not sure what it was. It could be nothing. You know, well, we just got to wait and see. But that was just some of my thoughts. Let's see. But for the most part, offense was good. We missed the extra point, James Turner, but then he came back and hit a 50-yarder, which probably could have went for 60. So that was nice to see that the kicker, the transfer from is Louisville. I know I said Maryland on the other video, but he's from Louisville. He looked good for the most part, besides that missed PAT. Let's see. Fred Moore looked pretty good. There was a bunch of players that didn't play in this game also. Amarian Walker, Cole Cabana, just to name a few. Also, punt return, I'm not sure they had Thaw. I'm not sure who that is. He was back there at first. I don't know what he's doing back there. And they had Samaj Morgan, who looked like he was about to pop one, but then he was jogging. Like, bro, run. What are you doing? You got the edge. Take off. I don't know. I'm not sure what was up with that. Or maybe he saw something I didn't see, you know. Khalil Mullins back at kick return. Not sure why he's back there. I'm not sure why he's back there. Put guys back there that can be a difference maker on punt return and kick return. You gotta have dudes that can make people miss and that are quick or fast. Khalil Mullins, he ain't quick or fast. Not sure why he's back there. We didn't see Orgy this game. We didn't see Orgy, which, you know, Davis Warren was the backup. So after JJ and them got out the game, they just kind of ran vanilla. But to me, I think you need to let whoever that backup is that comes in these cupcake games, you need to run the offense. Because if something happens to JJ, knock on wood, he needs the reps. Continue to run the offense. That's just how I feel. Continue to run the offense. Just because you up 30-0 don't mean, we just going to hand it off every time. Why? When they're still run blitzing. They're still running their defense to not let you just run it down their throat. Run your offense. Let Davis Warren throw down the field. Let him see some looks. Don't just pin it up. Oh, it's over. Okay, what happens now if JJ gets hurt? Then he ain't had no reps. Let him get some reps out there. That's just how I feel. But hey, I'm not the coach. I'm just giving y'all what I think about it. We did get stopped on a goal line play right before JJ and the starters got taken out the game. I'd like to see us. One, Donovan Edwards isn't a goal line or short yardage back. That's just not his game. Honestly, it's just not his game. I'd like to see us use Orgy. Like, for real. I'd like to see him in a Wildcat, QB power, any of them. But I know you want to. But I know what they're doing. They want to establish the tone of we're gonna run it down your throat, short yardage. We can get this 1 yard. I get it. But in the future, further along in the season, more meaningful games, I'd like to see Orgy used. Don't waste talent. Don't waste talent. You got a 6'3", 240 quarterback that's a freak of nature. Don't waste him on the sideline, especially if you don't really have a consistent power back. Blake has power, but that power only goes so much because he's little. Donovan's that's not his game. So you got kind of an in-between of, all right, I got a little back that's kind of powerful. I got a bigger back, but that's not really his game. I got a void there. Khalil Mullins, he just ain't really that. I don't know if it's ever gonna just come into fruition of him being a good back where you'll really trust him to get those short yardage or on the goal line. A la TCU. Put that big freak of nature in there that's used to handling the ball. Let him get us that 6 sometimes. Don't waste talent. Don't waste talent. There's no need. You use Alex Orji the same way Urban Meyer used Tim Tebow. He the same player. That dude wants to run over people. So use him. That's my Alex Orji rant. All right. That's pretty much it for the offense. For the most part, I saw what I really wanted to see. JJ looking like he's taking that next step. The only other thing I would say was I'd like to see us get more run after the catch. We're getting chunk plays, but we got chunk plays, but it was all right, catch, tackle. No yards after catch really at all. So that's something that going forward I'd like to see, with the route tree. Too many stationary routes, you know what I'm saying? But, that's a work in progress. We'll see. On defense, Mikey got a pick. Mike Sanders still got a pick very early. It was nice. Would have liked to see him stay up, take that to the house. But, hey, beggars can't be choosers, So that was nice. And Mikey going to get a lot of work this year. With Josh Wallace being out there, and I'm not even sure who was at the other corner a lot of the times, honestly. I didn't really they really didn't talk about it, who was the other outside corner. So with Mike, they're going to go to that slot, it looks like a lot. Teams are going to be trying to work that slot. So Mikey, he going to get his work cut out for him this year, definitely. He's going to have opportunities to make plays, get interceptions a lot. Josh Wallace looked very good. And I expected him to look good. Dude's been around, played a lot of football, and played a lot of man defense under Don Brown. So that's what I expect. They kind of cheated him out of a pick. I thought he picked that ball off, but we didn't really get to see it too many times. Peacock in there, I don't know what they had going on with some of their stuff, but he looked very good. Let's see. Keon Sabb looked good at safety. Nice to see that. Rod Moore didn't play in this game. So, Hausman looked good also. Looked like he's bringing that physicality, playing sideline to sideline. Honestly, the higher the caliber competition, I think Hausman should be starting or taking most of the reps over Mike Barrett. That's just me. Everybody's got their opinion. That's mine. I just think his caliber is higher than Mike Barrett. That's just how I feel about it. But for the most part, the defense does what it does. Knows what they're doing in the scheme. Hard for ECU to get a good drive and get points out of it. They got a field goal at the very, very end. They missed one early on, I think in the second quarter also. But they weren't able to get a good sustained drive where you thought they were going to get points. So for the most part, defense legit looked good. Now the problems with the defense that I saw, the number one problem is the pass rush, lack of pass rush. And this is I'm going to keep it 100 with this. This is a big problem. Not being able to get a consistent pass rush from the edge all game, no sacks. That's a problem. You should have your ends or the edge rusher should be able to get to ECU and get a sack. And part of the problem I saw was They just don't have any moves. I'm not seeing any moves. All I'm seeing is guys trying to fly around, rush wide, and try to fly around. Well, guess what? If you got a quarterback that's got any sense, he's just going to step up. That's a problem. I'm not seeing any spin moves. I barely saw bull rush. I'm just seeing guys fly wide, and then, like, bro, that ain't going to cut it at this level. You're not going to do that. You got to be a freak of nature. Elite speed, size, to where I'm coming around that edge. You ain't got a chance. Y'all ain't that. You got to work on your craft. And this is a problem for me. Honestly, McGregor, I'm going to keep it real. I saw an interview with McGregor, and I just didn't like some of the stuff he was saying and the body language. Now, it sounds good, but I look to hear certain stuff. To me, his confidence, he's still trying to find himself, what it sounded like to me. And then hearing about like stuff like Aiden had to tell him to effort and stuff like that, just keep your motor and stuff like that. He just didn't sound like he trusted himself. Like, he didn't have the talk like, I'm ready, this is my year, I'm about to dominate. Like the real confidence, like, oh boy, I'm about to, that Donovan Edwards confidence. There we go. That type of confidence. He didn't have that, and you need that. Whether you say it or not, it's an aura to yourself. Like, I'm ready to come out and dominate. Like, you don't have to be as cocky as Donovan is, but this is my year. I'm about to come out and I'm about to show this is my year. So I saw that a couple days ago, and it kind of bothered me. Jalen Harrell, same thing, flying around that edge. Derek Moore, they all were doing the same thing, just flying wide around that edge. And there was some holding, but it's just what it was. Josiah Stewart, he was doing the same thing. He lost contain on a run also, but just doing the same thing. And I didn't see the motor. out of him. I saw him pull up on a tackle he could have had later on in the game. I didn't like that. Caught him jogging off the field. Should have been a penalty. They didn't call it for whatever reason. Jogging off the field. Like, bro, where's the motor and the want to? That edge, you have to have a motor. That's part of what made Aiden so great, is he just had a motor. So if he would fly around the edge and the quarterback stepped up, he's coming around and chasing him up. Like, he's not just flying around the edge. Quarterback steps up and, oh, I couldn't get him. No, he's flying around that edge and then chasing you. So he could get away with that because he was such a freak of nature, and his want to be great was 110%. Just because I flew around the edge, it ain't over for you. I'm coming. I want you. I want Michigan to be great. I'm going to get you. So that's what's missing from that edge, and it's troubling to me because that's what got us in. That's what was the problem in the playoff. The pass rush. That was the problem against Illinois. Somewhat. The pass rush. You know what I'm saying? So, not sure. Let's just hope it gets better. And let's hope these coaches notice some of this stuff that I noticed, and they gonna be on their head this week. Let's just hope. Because we don't want to have to blitz. We didn't blitz that much either, so that's a good thing, I guess. But the pass rush, it just wasn't really there. Now, the interior line, them boys, they some dogs. Whether it was Mason Graham, Jenkins, Kenneth Grant, Cam Goody, those boys doing their job. You know what I'm saying? But, I just want to see that pass rush. And on passing downs, I'd like to see them stay home a little bit more. So when that quarterback does step up, they waiting on him. But hey, I'd like to see that defensive line as a pass rush unit get more cohesive. It's just not there, and I'm ranting about it because it's troubling because we've got bigger fish to fry than ECU. So let's see what else we got. I saw some of the same stuff that bothered me from last year. Some soft tackling sometimes. Once they get through the D-line, I'm seeing some of that same soft tackling. But hey, Hausman out there hidden somewhat. I'd like to see him start. I'm just going to keep it real. He's probably still trying to get the defense down because it's a complex scheme. But that's what I saw. But for the most part, the team looked good. Don't get confused on me nitpicking with like I'm saying that they played a bad game. No, this is me nitpicking because things that you do wrong against ECU can come back to bite you when you play a Penn State, when you play an Ohio State, if you make the playoff and you play one of the playoff teams. So that's just what it is. Me nitpicking is just because those things can linger and show up in big games. But for the most part, the team looked pretty good. But the biggest takeaway and the biggest yes is JJ looking like he's taking that next step of being that dude. Taking that next step of, this ain't Donovan team. This ain't Blake team. I'm him. I'm that top dog. And I get on my back. Oh, the run game ain't working. Oh, who cares? Get on my back. Yes, sir. I'm him. Let's go. Championship or bust. So that's the thing. Want to see him being that dude, that field general. I got everything on point. Now we did see the fumbling of the ball between him and Donovan, but you know that can happen. You'd like to see that not happen, of course, but they got to get that red zone, what they want to do in the red zone together. I mean, obviously, they were trying to get Donovan in because he had the run. And you probably could have punched that in with Blake, but, you know, Blake got his carries. Donovan got you down there. You want to let Donovan go and finish it. And they want to establish that tone. But so I'm not taking too much from that. But for the most part, I saw what I needed to see. JJ, the receivers, looking good. The run game, they're going to stay consistent with it. And by the time we get to about Rutgers, I think it's going to be popping a little more. You're going to see more big runs, more holes develop consistently. But, you know, this one was a good win. They did some lineup formation. They did some formations. They did some come out of the huddle and they do the little, I don't know what you call it, where they all line up behind each other, you know, to Harbaugh to, you know, support their coach. Cool to see, you know. But this was a good win. Jesse Minter got his dub, and, you know, the team looked good for the most part. So that's all I got for this one. I will probably go live this week, tomorrow, or maybe even later today. I got to see. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. Good win. Great to see the team back, and we finally got football. So like, share, subscribe, and as always, go blue.